If you're a beginner with native ads and you want to start today with native ads, then this is your video. Because in this video, we are going to check the 3 most important things if you're going to start with native ads today. So I will show you directly on my screen what's important here. It's not a direct tutorial, but it's more a holistic approach for you to really understand what's important, because it's less about how you do it, it's more important what you do to do the right things correctly. So therefore, this video is for you if you're an absolute beginner and if you consider to start with native ads. Hi everyone, my name is Marcel Sattler. I'm the founder of nativeadvertising.net. We are a platform about nothing but native ads, and we are also an agency with more than 10 years of experience in native ads. And you know, I've seen so many people who want to start with native. They have a great product fit, a great marketing fit for native ads, but at the end of the day, they failed. They lost a lot of money because they did some things wrong. And native ads, to understand, is very complicated. You know, it's like not just one thing you need to fix or you need to do correctly. It's a bunch of things. It's like a phone number. You know, if I have 10 digits in my phone number and you just misdial one number, the result is you're not going to reach me. And with native ads, it's the same. If you have a good idea, good product, but you do one thing wrong, let's say, for example, you set up the tracking wrong, or you have a very bad copywriting, it's not gonna work. And this is the thing here. So you need to do the right things in the correct order correctly in order to make native advertising work at the end of the day. So this is key here, and in this video I want to help you to set up the things correctly. We will not dig in way too much, but we will take care of the 3 most important things here when it comes to native ads. So let's jump into it. We will check out today 3 things. We will check out the funnel, the platform, and the KPIs. All 3 things are the most important things when you start with native ads right away. Let me start first with the funnel. So when it comes to the funnel, it's very important to follow a structure. So if you're used with Meta ads, for example, you are usually used to have the ad on the platform like on Meta, and afterwards you have the product page or the sales page. I will just say SP for sales page. But the funnel on native is different. So you have the ad, and then afterwards you have the platform, or you have the ad, then you have the advertorial, and then you have the sales page. And the advertorial here, this is the key component, to be honest, because the advertorial can decide if your campaign is going to be profitable or negative. That means if you have a good copywriting part, if you have a good optimized web design here, then it can have a huge impact on your campaign. I would never recommend you to start a campaign without an advertorial. Yes, the advertorial is key, and if you run native ads, yes, you should definitely go with an advertorial. Never go without. So you have the advertorial here, and the advertorial basically should look like, so there are different kinds of advertorials. You know, you can write an editorial, you can write something like a blog article, and you can write something like a listicle. So an editorial is basically, it looks like a newspaper article, but of course it's your copywriting here. A blog is, like from the POV perspective, of an affected person, and the listicle is the 10 things you should avoid or the 10 things you should know about XYZ. So this is the structure we like to follow. And usually we have the following structure here. We have different approaches, different marketing angle. Let's say angle 1, angle 2. So you can sell, you know, the same product in different ways here. This is very important to understand. And here we have different advertorials. We have ADV1, which is, for example, the editorial. We have ADV2, which is, for example, the blog, and we have ADV3, which is, for example, the listicle. And the same we do with angle 2, and of course they're different. So these angles are different. This is maybe a different audience. So let's say these are seniors, let's say these are stay-at-home moms. So also the editorials are differently written. The blog article here, for example, is from a senior. Here it's from a stay-at-home mom. So there is a difference. And what we do here is every advertorial gets 33% of the traffic. So we can, if we have 100% of the traffic, all the advertorials are getting the same amount of the traffic. And then we check based on the KPIs which one performs the best. So that means we check out the CTR, the click-through rate, for example. if there are conversions, we check out the conversion rate, we check out the CPA. So you need to understand your data and also understand which advertorial you should push or which advertorial performs the best. For this, you would need a tool like, it's called a tracker tool, like for example, Volume or Clicklflare or RedTrack. So there are a bunch of tools. Unfortunately, they're a bit pricey. So that's the huge downside of these tools here. But with those tools, you can rotate your advertorials in the way you like, and you can also use this tracker to track your performance overall. So it makes things way easier, and you can also set up server-to-server tracking with these tools. So it makes a lot of things easier in the ongoing process, but it's a pain in the ass to set them up in the beginning. So therefore, you can also hire someone like a freelancer on Upwork or whatever to help you with this. So as soon as you found out which advertorial works the best, let's say it's the blog perspective, the POV, the advertorial 2 and the angle 1, based on the KPIs we see. Then the next thing what you do is like you create lookalikes. So this is like your baseline. And then you create an ADV 2.1, 2.2, and so on and so forth. So these are basically lookalikes. That means it's a blog article, it's a POV perspective, but what you're going to do here is you create, for example, here it was a man, you use a woman, you use a different marketing angle, different structure of the advertorial. So you need to split test. The main goal here is to get a better performance than you already have in the baseline one. And with this, you can get better and better results with every new split test you do. Of course, at one moment, you also need to stop the split testing because then it's about making money because testing is expensive. But in the beginning, it's key to test a lot of things and try a bit around which one works the best. So that's the structure here. And also when it comes to the sales page is very important to structure it a bit differently. So the majority of people, when they're in e-commerce, for example, they just send the traffic to the Shopify store. But what I would recommend is always to have a separate sales page. And this sales page should contain something like a timer or so, urgency, a lot of proof, and you know, all these basic landing page optimization things. But usually this landing page works way better than a normal Shopify product page because here you can add all these things here manually, which is a great thing. You should also optimize it for mobile, of course, and for desktop because on native you have both kind of traffic sources here. So yeah, that's basically the funnel structure. And this is how you should set it up. Let's jump to the next point, which is the platform. And the platform, you know, there are a bunch of native advertising platforms. There are bigger ones, smaller ones. The bigger ones are Taboola, Outbrain. The smaller ones are Newsbreak, MJD, RevContent, whatever. Don't do the mistake and start with a small platform. If you want to start with native ads, start with the right platform. Start with either Taboola or start with Outbrain. Now, very important to understand is that both of these platforms, they have something which is called a self-service account. And with the self-service account, you're limited. You don't have the ability, for example, to use a block list or a whitelist. So let's make a sample. Let's say you sign up at taboola.com for an account, and then what you get is like a self-service account. The problem is if this is the pool of Taboola, so if these are all the publishers, you know, let's structure it a bit. If this is the pool of publishers, and yeah, you don't usually want to run on all of them because some of them are good publishers, some of them are bad publishers. I'll just change a bit the colors to make it a bit easier. So let's say those are the bad publishers you don't want to run. This is push traffic. Push traffic is like when you play an online game and like a free game, and you at one certain moment there's like click here if you want to continue to play this game. And sometimes there's a pop-up or so, you know, and this is push traffic. So these people, they're not interested at all to click on your ad. Therefore, this traffic is something you want to avoid. You want to run usually on premium publishers where people read the newspaper and then they scroll down after they read the article, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and then they see more which might interest you, and then they can click actively into a new topic here. And this is where you want to run. You don't want to run on this push traffic, for example. And in order to do this, you need something like a managed account, because to avoid this push traffic, there's something in the background which is called block list, and you want to use this block list. But to use this block list, you're unable to do this by yourself. You need to ask the guys from, for example, the reps from Taboola to start or to create this block list for you, or add it to your account, to your network, whatever. So therefore, ask them. You need to sign an IO, something like an insert order, to have an agreement with them, to have a business relationship with them, and then you can start with this. So, but don't do the mistake and start with some smaller platforms like MJD or RevContent. The reason here is these platforms, you need to be more advanced to understand these platforms and to run on them. So therefore, don't do the mistake and run on these kind of smaller platforms. Start with the big players like Taboola and Outbrain. Afterwards, you can anyway add those platforms like the smaller platforms for scale or just for trial and error, but don't do it in the beginning. And last but not least, KPIs. So the KPIs are the crucial thing because you need data. It's online marketing. You need data to interpret the data correctly and to get your learnings and to narrow down the funnel. Because in the beginning with native, you have a very broad approach, and then in the first couple of days and weeks, you need to narrow down the funnel, which makes it profitable. In the beginning, with native ads, it's almost impossible to be positive or profitable. So it's very hard to have first day results. Don't set your expectations to first day results. Very important here. Set your expectations that you start at one certain point and then you need to narrow down the funnel and make it more profitable. So it's a way until you reach this point. It's not going to happen on the very first day. And you need to read the KPIs correctly. KPIs are key. So you need to see all the split tests. You need to have one central hub where you have all the data, something like data storage, but for your KPIs. So things like click-through rate of the ads are important, click-through rates of the advertorials are important, conversion rates of the landing pages are important. And for this, you can use different tools. So I would always recommend you to use something like Microsoft Clarity to see or to check the analytics on your advertorials, to see what's the user flow here, to understand the user flow better. And you should also use this on your sales page. Besides of this, again, you should use something like a tracker, in my opinion, which is like Volume or Red Track or Clicklflare. Keep in mind they're a bit pricey, but it's definitely worth it, because without the proper KPIs, you might save some bucks on the tool. Because yes, those tools are pricey. You might save some bucks on the tools, but at the end of the day, you spend more money because you don't have control. It's like flying a plane without the navigation. In the air, you don't see anything at 36,000 feet. So you need something which is guiding you the direction. These tools, they're not guiding you the direction, but they give you the data which you can interpret. And this is the key here. So you need to see click-through rate, conversion rate, CPMs, CPCs, and there's also something which I would recommend you, which is a server-to-server tracking. And the server-to-server tracking is the most reliable way of tracking. Of course, you can use something like a pixel tracking. All these tools like Taboola and Outbrain, they offer you a pixel tracking implementation. But I cannot recommend you this, because with this, you're losing a lot of data. And without data, especially on low budget, impossible to make it profitable. So you need to be the owner of your data and understand your data. And for this, you need something like a tracking tool here. Again, you don't need to set it up by yourself. You can hire someone from Fiverr or Upwork who can set it up for you, but you need to understand how to interpret the data afterwards. So it's not just enough to have the tool and to collect the data. It's also your job as a marketer afterwards to interpret the data and make your learnings and also use the learnings in your favor, in your advantage. So yeah, these are the most three important things if you start with native right away. It's a more holistic approach. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it, and if you want to see a more practical approach too, then I can create another video about this. I hope you liked that video. If so, I would extremely appreciate if you give me a thumbs up, and of course subscribe to my channel and activate the bell to receive a notification when I upload a new video here about native ads on YouTube. Have a good one. See you next time.